Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel J.I. Colorist. My name is Jody and I am having a birthday month. So what better than to celebrate in the book Party by Hanna Karlzon. So this is one of her children's books, although as we all know we're all just young at heart, and a lot of these pictures very much are adult coloring as well. So if you haven't seen this book before, it's darling. It does have cream colored paper. It is double-sided and it is a smaller book. It is about 7 inches by 9 inches. So kind of a pocket size book if you would like. So I decided, since it's my birthday, I would do a color along in this book called Party, and I am going to color the cake. So I thought, who doesn't love birthday cake? And what better way to celebrate than creating my own cake? All right, I will let you know what mediums I use as I'm going along. I will hold them up to the screen, and I'll also include a material list in the video comments below. All right, let's get going. So I looked at this cake and I love strawberries. I also love whipped cream, and I also love chocolate cake. So I am going to do this as a chocolate cake. And I am going to use a Zig brushable to start, and this is the one called Root Beer Float, and I'm going to use the lighter color, and I'm going to do the bottom part of this cake here, and I'm thinking that this top part will be iced, but the bottom part will show that it's chocolate, just so you know. And I chose the Zig brushables because they are water-based and they do have a nice firm tip, the brush tip, so I should be able to do relatively easy. Let me zoom you down a bit and you can see how it's going. Okay. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about birthdays. Everybody has one. And I am turning 59 here on April 11th. So that's kind of exciting. And I wanted to know if there are any birthday traditions that you do in your household or for yourself. Do you do something special every year for yourself on your birthday? I am going to be away from home. In fact, I'll be on my own for my birthday this year, so I will be spending it here with you, doing some coloring and answering comments on YouTube. Comment below what your favorite cake is. I do think that my favorite cake is probably Black Forest, like I mentioned. And I do love just a good chocolate cake. But yeah, the addition of cherries is always kind of fun and tasty. Although I do also really like angel food cake, and my mom usually makes me an angel food cake for my birthday or any big special occasion. So when we were younger and we had birthday parties and stuff, I don't know if you remember, but we used to have little coins wrapped in wax paper and baked into the cake, and you would, if you got a coin in your piece of cake, you were one of the lucky ones. That's something that probably nobody does nowadays, but that was something that we did back in the 70s. All right, I'll finish this off, this bottom part, and I'll be right back. I'm happy with how this is going. I may come in and shade with a bit of pencil, which is totally not a problem, but yeah, happy with how this is going, and also zero bleed through at all. So and that's important to me on a double-sided book. All right, back in a flash. Okay, this is all done now. I'm just going to come in with the same marker and just do another little swipe along one side of each of these kind of areas, and that's going to provide a little bit of shading. So even without bringing in some pencils, I'm just adding a little bit of dimension, just doing a little bit more on the one side, and I'm not keeping it always to the one side so that it makes sense. I'm not going around this, but just keeping it on the one side. And if this isn't enough, I can also do the same thing with pencil, but at least I've got a start. This top layer here is going to be pink, so I'm going to stick with this and see how this works. This is called baby pink. I'm going to use the darker because it's really light, this whole thing. So and it's going to cover the cream, and I think that that would be a nice light color. And I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do all these little sparkly baubles here. Maybe something metallic and shiny, because I think that would be fun to have that on your cake. Now this cake also has candles, which I do not have candles on my cake anymore. Wearing oxygen, having candles on your cake, and then getting your face right up close to a flame and blowing on it is extremely dangerous for someone on oxygen. So this is definitely a cake that I will just enjoy on paper. I just kind of laughed when I saw the candles there. I'm like, yeah, not quite. And you'll notice that I'm going always in the same direction when I am doing the coloring. So you pick a angle that you're going at, and then just keep doing it for the whole area. And that also helps with streaks. If there are any streaks, at least they will be all going the same way, and it kind of hides it a little bit to your eye. But if it's not super streaky, then just leave it alone. If it does, if you do feel like it needs a second coat, wait for this coat to fully dry and then go in the opposite direction. Don't keep going over an area wet, because even with a water-based marker, you are going to bleed through your paper. Okay, we're back, and I have done a little bit of work while I was away, or while the camera was turned off. And what I've done is brought in a couple of the Zig brushables. So the pink is what we did here. Then I wanted to kind of do the frosting and bring some of that pink down. So I'll quickly do that. And also I brought in a Woomer pencil in the color Pink Matter. And so it's almost, the barrel is quite fluorescent color, but it's, and then I thought I'd also bring back a game we haven't played for quite a while. And so I'm going to do some voiceover and questions from I Should Have Known That, a trivia game about all the things that we ought to have known. I thought I would do that as I color, so that there's something more interesting than just me rambling on, and give us a little bit of discussion points. So I will break in once in a while and tell you what I'm doing, just so you know. And but I will go through and we'll do the frosting bits here. And so all I've done is I've taken the light and the dark pink, so I've added that, and then I've also brought in the lightest color on the Hyacinth dual-ended Zig marker. So I'm going to start with the lightest pink, so I'll zoom you down a bit. And I'm always starting with the lightest pink being the top one. And then I am taking the lightest Hyacinth one, and I'm putting that aside. And then I'm taking the darker pink and doing it here. And then if there's another section, I'm coming back with the lighter pink. And that's what I'm doing with that. And so yeah, so again, that's the lightest pink on the largest swirl area. And even this kind of shadow bit, I can do a little strip of darker pink there, blend that in a bit. So that's what I will be doing for that. And it'll end up looking like we have along the bottom. So I thought I would do the same. So I'll continue on with that. I'll also show you what I have started. Just let me put the caps on. So for this top area here, it has some kind of like sprinkle beads on it, little candied pieces. And all I'm doing is I'm coming underneath those candied pieces, which I am going to make into a shiny metallic. So I'm going to use probably a shiny gel pen, but I'm coming underneath it and just putting in a bit of shadow and shading to help pop them off the page and give them a little bit of depth. So I'm not going around the whole thing, just probably about half of it. And I'm always doing it on the same side so that the shadow, if there is a shadow, would always be casting the same way. So that's what I'm doing there. So that's just adding a little bit, and I'll also come in with the same pencil and just put a little bit of shading along the very edge of my cake and at the very bottom where there would be less light hitting this area. So I'm just coming in with a little bit of shading, and that is with the Woomer pencil in the pink matter. So I'll continue on with that, and then I'll keep coloring, and I'll start with some other questions, and then I'll jump to, once you've seen me color one thing enough, then I'll switch to something else so that you're not getting bored. All right, here's the first question. Okay, I'm going to read the first question, and then I'll give it a bit of a pause, and then I will read you the answer. So if you're playing along, you can pause the video when I pause, and then resume the video when you're ready to hear the answer. So the first question is, how many pieces does each player have at the start of a chess game? My guess is 16, and the answer is 16. Excellent. How did you do? All right, I'll bring you back, and we will do a couple of things. I'm going to use gel pens, a variety of them, to do the little candy dots here. But before I do that and smear them all over the place, I'm going to do the strawberries. And I've done one strawberry here already, just to show you. I will let you know which pencils I'm using. They are all the Woomer pencils. They are handy on my desk, and I'm still testing them out. So the light green here that I'm using for the little seed bits is the yellow green, which is 410. That's the number. So that's what that is. Again, this is yellow green. The leaves here are two-toned in color, and I have used leaf green as the light edge, and then hooker's green as the base color. So I'm doing it darker near the closer to the stem of the strawberry, and then the lighter tip at the edge, and that's just to give it a bit of a fresh look. All right, and then I am using the remaining three colors. The light red is called chili pepper, and it is 149. The second color is madder red purple and is 176. And then I'm doing a bit of blending in the center with the white, which is just white, and it's WP001. So I'm doing an overall layer of the chili pepper, and I'm keeping my layers light. And like I said, I'll do a entire over coverage of the entire strawberry, missing the green pit areas. Question number 2, what is a box for storing cigars called? My guess is a humidor, and the answer actually is a humidor. Woohoo! So that's one coat, and as you can see over here, it's quite a bit deeper and richer in color, and that's because I'm coming in with another pencil layer. If you had a heavier hand, I guess you could probably do this in less layers, but I find the harder you push on your pencil, the more fatigue that you are giving your hand. On screen you'll notice that I work in small circles while I'm coloring, and that is basically a scumbling motion. Question number 3. How many stomachs does a cow have? My guess is 7, and the answer actually is 4. Okay, then I'm going to come in with my madder red purple, and I'm going to place that in areas where I think that the strawberry should be darker in color. So along the bottom, sometimes coming into the strawberry just to give it some shape, and along the edge. Doesn't have to be along the full edge, so I'll leave this area without, but I'll bring some of the red color down. And like I said, that helps with the shape of the strawberry. Question 4. How long does it typically take for an alarm to go off again after the snooze button is hit? So after I've done that and kind of established where I want that darker color, I will come back in with my lighter red and see if I can zoom you in a little bit more. And then I'm going to just go over the whole strawberry again, blending in those darker areas. And at this point I'm just trying to get rid of the white tooth of the paper, and also ensure that I like where I've placed those dark areas. My guess for question number 4 is 9 minutes, and the actual answer is 9 minutes. And that's because I've actually timed it. Now I can bring in my white pencil, and I can kind of blend those areas, and I'm going to put the white more in the center. And I'm just blending. If there's any areas where you don't want it to be super dark, then you can lighten those up. And I'm going to come back in with my darker pencil and just ensure that I've got those areas where I want it to be darker. Question 5. In what field is a sommelier an expert? My guess and the answer is wine. And you can see that I have gone in certain areas a little bit deeper, and that's because I'm trying to make the strawberry look more three-dimensional and not just a flat strawberry. So as long as you're happy with how it's looking, then you're done. You can keep going, or you can call it quits. And so I'll be happy at this point, and I'll just leave that and go on to the next one and do the next 2. While I speed color the last strawberry, I will continue the question. So this is question number 6. The freezing point of water is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. What does this correspond to in Celsius? Well, I live in Canada and it is cold here most of the year, so I am going to guess it's 0 degrees Celsius. Flipping the card over, the answer is indeed 0 degrees Celsius. This next question, number 7. Who was the first Soviet leader, Lenin or Stalin? My guess is Stalin, and the answer is Lenin. All right, let's do the candles, and I'm going to make them purple. I think I like purple, so I am going to be using royal purple for the main candle, and then for the melted wax I'm going to use manganese violet and light violet. So the actual candle itself will be the darkest, so that will be the purple color, and it's just called royal purple. I'm just doing a solid coat to that, and then the melted wax, like I said, will be light violet. and then the other one is manganese violet. So just a couple of shades of lighter than the purple. And then for the wick, I'm going to actually use a glaze pen. I'm going to actually come in and go over my lightest color with white to kind of blend that in and make sure it is a lighter color, and also a little bit of the darker purple just to kind of blend it out. Instead of using too many layers, I'm just going to use white to blend it. Okay, and then I'm going to be using a glaze pen, and this is number 822, which is the dark red. I believe it's called True Red. And I'm going to do that, and I'm going to wait for that to dry, and then I will use some colored pencil for the actual flame. So that's how that is going to look. I'll also show you what I'm going to do for the candy baubles or beads that are along here. And I've got a few different gel pens. So I have a Moonlight pen that I don't normally use on double-sided paper, but this is quite thick paper, so I wanted to see how it would do and if it would bleed through or not. And this page is, you know, not totally fussed about, so if it does bleed through, I can probably cover it up. I also have a dual hybrid, and this is in the violet metallic blue. And then I have a purple metallic or violet metallic violet in the Uniball Signal. So I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle those around. I've got them all uncapped now. And this one is the juiciest, so the Moonlight. So going to be careful with it because I don't want to be smearing the gel pen. So I'm going to work from my left to right. Question number 8. What popular drink is made of vodka, tomato juice, and spices and is often garnished with a celery stick? I'm also going to actually bring in a gold dual hybrid just to break up all the purple. So I've got a total of 4 gel pens here, and I'm just going to make sure that the same colors are not side by each. My guess for question number 8 is a Caesar, and the answer actually is a Bloody Mary, and that is a difference of what we call it between Canada and the US. And this one, when it dries, it's going to have a gold sheen on top. That's what the Moonlight do. So I will continue that, and I'll be right back. Okay, here's how our cake is looking so far. I need to do this icing here, and then we are going to come in and jazz up the icing. So I'm going to bring out my hyacinth color again, and there are kind of some areas here that are behind the icing. So I'll just zoom you in a little bit. So as you can see, so the areas that are behind, I'm going to do darker. So now I know where I have all my darkest shades, and then I'm going to come in on the other side and use the lighter one. And this light hyacinth one is also one that I used right here on the layer above. So I'm keeping this a fairly cohesive color palette, and once I have finished doing the lighter purple or hyacinth color, I'm going to come in, and where the illustrator has left some marks, I'm just going to come in and follow along there. So zoom you in a little bit more, and so I'm going to do the lighter layer. Question number 9. What musical and film centers on Austria and the family of Captain George von Trapp? The answer is, of course, The Sound of Music. And then the darker areas, just kind of where the illustrator has left some marks. And that just helps me with some shading. Okay, I'll finish off the rest and be right back. Okay, let's continue on. I am using a metallic brush pen by Ink. This is sold at the Dollar Tree, and it is purple. It has a foam tip, and it does not bleed through the paper, and it is a nice opaque purple. Question number 10. What painter cut off his own ear? My guess is Van Gogh, and the answer is Vincent van Gogh. And then I am going to also come in with some different mediums and put them on top of this to make it a little bit sparkly and a little bit shiny. Okay, so we'll let those dry, and I will go and I'm going to probably just put some of the dual hybrid, both the purple and the gold, down here on the smaller beads here. So I'm going to go and place the purple ones first, and then I will do the rest in gold. So then it kind of matches what's going on in the top layer, but because these are smaller, it's kind of nice that they're a little bit more blingy. Question number 11. What is the capital of Australia? Thanks to my flag series, I know the answer should be Cambria, and it is Cambria. This is still drying up here, so we'll leave that for now, but let's go ahead and do the plate. Okay, I am going to use the Cadet Blue for the cake plate, and I'm going to use a Crafter's Square Blue metallic marker for the edging. And when I first put down the metallic marker, it's quite bright, but it actually dries down to a silver blue, which will go really well with the Cadet Blue. So when I first put it down, you're going to kind of be surprised and shocked, but give it a little while to dry. So I'll zoom you in, and you can see me put it down, and then I'll continue on. So I'm just going to do a light layer to get this down, and I can come back in and do a second layer if I need to, and I'll show you what this blue is going to look like. So I'm going to do the edge. I'm not going to totally go over the black line. I'm going to leave the illustrator's line there, but as you can see, it looks quite a vibrant blue, but it will dry down and it doesn't seep through the paper. And I got this from the Dollar Tree. I find the Dollar Tree has actually a pretty good craft aisle for decent prices. It's kind of fun to hunt down cheap alternatives. And this metallic will also go nice with the metallic balls up here. It's kind of like one of those cake plates where it has kind of gilding along the edge, is what I was envisioning. Our last question, number 12, is Leonardo DiCaprio acted in the film Titanic in 1997. Who was his leading lady? And the answer to question number 12 is Kate Winslet. And I'm going to do very light so that I can come in and shade with this in circular motions, so I'm not getting pencil streaks. And that's it for the trivia questions. If you were playing along, there were 12 questions in total. How many did you get right? I personally got 10.5. I'm giving myself a half for question number 8, where I answered Caesar and the United States call the drink a Bloody Mary. So I got 10.5, and I'm happy that we were able to play along today. Let me know how you did, and I look forward to playing again with you. See you later. Keeping a lighter hand in the center area, and probably do a little bit deeper on the sides. And that will help with the illusion of 3D as well. Okay, so that's what that is going to look like, and I can deepen it up a little bit more, but I'll just show you where I'm putting the metallic marker I don't need to go over and over it. It's got good coverage from the start, so just putting it down and leaving it. As with any marker, I'm sure if you kept going over the same area multiple times and saturating the paper, it will bleed through, but I have not had a problem with bleed through with just that kind of application. I'll let that dry. I'll be right back and we'll continue on finishing up this page. Okay, let's carry on and finish off these flames. I've got two colors. I've got cadmium yellow, and then I have one that's just called orange, and I am just going to do some of the flame in orange, and I'm going to also do the rest in yellow, and I'm just going to kind of blend the two together so that there's a bit of each color within the flame itself. So I'll actually blend with the yellow. So zoom you in a little bit. So we've got some orange come in. So there are certain areas that are definitely yellow on the flame and some orange. Let's take a look at how our cake is looking. And as you can see, this dried a lot lighter, and now the cake plate looks quite nice, but it just kind of blends into the background. It doesn't stand out, but it does actually blend in, and that's why I chose gray and kind of the silver blue just to kind of melt into the background. Now if we look at the icing, it's kind of plain, and that's because I have saved some of the best for last. And I am going to do a couple of things left to this page. One, I am going to bring in Mod Podge Extreme Glitter, and that's going to be quite sparkly, and I am going to put that over top of the flames so that they are extra sparkly. I'm also going to bring in Winsor Newton Iridescent Medium, and I am going to paint that directly onto some of the areas of the icing so that it gives a bit of a shimmer and shine to the icing. And those will be our last steps, and then I will go off and I will do probably some streamers on the page to complete the party atmosphere, and then we'll be done for the day. I hope you're enjoying what you're seeing so far. If you've colored this page, I'd love for you to post it on Instagram. If you do post your picture on Instagram, make sure to tag me at JI Colors so I can see it. We're going to start with the Extreme Mod Podge Glitter. Now, I don't have an old paintbrush that I particularly want to ruin, so I'm actually going to use a silicone tip tool, and I shook it up a little bit beforehand, so there's probably enough just to use in the cap itself with the silicone tip tool, or you could pour a little bit. It's quite runny. It's basically white glue with glitter in it, so you could pour some into a small palette or a little piece of saran wrap. But I find shaking it and opening it is enough. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to pick up some with my silicone tip tool, and I'm going to, you don't have to be super careful, but you do want it to just go on the areas you want. It is glue, so you do want to keep your book open until it's 100% dry. And basically I'm just dabbing it on, and it will dry, and there will be glitter galore. It's called Extreme Glitter. You could also use stickles if you don't have glitter glue. It's just I have this here on my trolley, and I am all about using up my stash. It goes on white so that you can see it, but it dries clear. So as you can see, I've got all 4 flames fully covered, and that will be it for this glue. So put the cap back on, make sure you screw it tight. I also store mine upright, and make sure you wash off your tipped tool because it is glue and it will create a hard little spot there if you don't wipe it off. Okay, grabbing a small paintbrush, let's scoot down the page and zoom you out a little bit so you can see what we're doing. Give this bottle a good shake, and it is a screw top childproof type cap, so you got to push down and twist, and you will see that there is stuff in the cap. And quite often I just work right from the cap instead of pouring stuff out. And I am going to go and I'm going to coat of the light pink. So I'm going to do that. So everywhere where I use the light pink, I'm going to come in and I'm just going to lightly paint that on. So there was some light pink here, and I'm using a 3/0 Princeton brush, so it doesn't matter what kind of brush you're using, just a tiny detail brush. And I suggest a paintbrush and not a silicone tip tool for this, just because it's a little bit easier and precise to paint with. Doesn't take much, just a little bit. Now you could do all of the icing, but I find sometimes when you just highlight a part of something, it stands out a bit more. Okay, already, I'll zoom you out, and when I move the book, you can see the shine on that. So I'm going to do that to this bottom part next, and then once that's done, I'll be back and we'll take a look at the page and see what else needs to happen before we draw on the confetti streamers. Okay, let's do a little bit of a background. You know that I'm all about backgrounds, and I just can't seem to leave a page alone. So I have drawn in pencil for now a few streamers and a little few confetti bits. So a couple of streamers up at the top and some confetti down below. And so it's going to be a minimal background, but I just thought that the cake takes up a lot of the page already, so I don't want to do a whole bunch, but I do want to kind of finish it off and make it feel more of a party. I also want to go and do something a bit more with this icing layer in the middle, and I am going to take my Signo gel pen, it's the metallic violet, and I am going to zoom you in, and we are going to go over, and I've started right here, but I'm going over the black lines, the illustrator's lines. So instead of using like a Lango gel pen, I'm using the metallic because I want it to be a little bit glossy, because icing can be quite glossy. And I'm using the purple because it is the purple icing. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to start, actually I should have started on the left so I don't smear things. So let's hope that I do okay. I'm just going to go along the outside illustrator's edge and try and cover up as much of that black line as possible. Now you could do this with a metallic, kind of a gel, not a gel pen, but the acrylic markers, if you had one of those. But I have already used this color on the page. So at the very end, I don't want to be adding new additional colors, but I will highlight with existing colors already from my page. And I may even come in and just go over some of these dark black lines that are on the illustrators, just to tone them down a bit. So I will continue on and do the rest of that line of icing. Here's how our page is looking, and here's the different sparkles already on it, the different shine, as you can see. This is still drying, so although it is pretty sparkly already, you can still see that there's a little bit of white there, but this is drying nicely as well, so really happy with that. Now let's go ahead. I've got the two metallic, I have a pink and a purple, and I'm going to do the streamers in that, and then I'm going to bring in the dual hybrid colors to do the confetti pieces because they will be a little bit more shiny. And yeah, so I'm going to do we've got a lot of purple on the page, so I'm actually going to do 2 pink streamers and 1 purple. So I'm going to do the largest streamer here, and I'm going to go right over the pencil. In fact, I'm actually going to erase the pencil so it's fairly light, and then when I go over it I won't have to cover so much. I could have used a kneaded eraser and that would have also taken off some. So when you make it thinner and thicker with a twist, it just makes it look like it's a flat streamer that's curled and been twisted. So that's what that is all about. So this would be where it's twisting, and then you see the flat edge of the streamer again, and then it's twisted, and you're just seeing the edge. Okay, I'm going to leave that dry, and if there's any spotty places, then I'll come over with a second coat, but I'm going to let that dry because I don't want to keep going over it, because it will start to leave tracks. So there is that. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do a pink one here and a purple one here. The purple has much nicer coverage, probably because I've been using this pen a little bit more than the other one. Okay, while the streamers are drying, I erased the confetti pieces, and I'm just going to bring in the violet, blue dual hybrid, the gold, and the pink metallic pink. So 3 different ones, and I'm just going to come in and just kind of like a sharp rectangle. I'm going to do the confetti like that, and I'm going to angle the confetti different ways so they're not all in one direction, and they don't all have to be the same size. Now when we get closer to the bottom, I want them to be laying on the ground, so we're going to be placing them more in line with the bottom edge of the plate base. I'm just drawing the bits on. I'm not good at drawing circles, so that's why we are not doing circles. It's much easier to draw little rectangles, and as long as you're doing them all similar, then it's just fine. I'm just filling in where I think a few more confetti bits should be, and taking a look at the overall page, adding a little bit more here and there. So some are falling and some are already laying on the ground. That is going to be our party page. If you notice, there are some spots up here that are giving off. I'm going to use a clear Stardust jelly roll for that, because I imagine this is more smoke kind of stuff from the candles, and it's a bit too small of an area to do the Mod Podge Extreme glitter, so this will just be a little bit of glitter. All right, taking a look at our page, it's almost done. Now I'm kind of going to step back and look at it, see if there's anything else that I might want to change or add. And I'm not really enjoying the black lines around the icing, so I have decided to grab one of my pink Lango gel pens, and I'm just going to go over the black lines, since it is all pink icing, and just cover those up. And that'll just kind of dull that black down a bit. And I don't have the whole pink set. I didn't think I'd need it, of course. So I just have a few pinks. I think these were from the Skin Tone set. As you can see, I've got this one done compared to these ones. Just going to go over, and you kind of go slow with these, and they have on like acrylic paint type feel to them, and they do cover the black lines well. You just have to kind of go slow. So I think that it is these two versus these two. I do think that cake wise this looks a little bit more appealing than such the dark heavy lines. So let me go finish that, and then we'll come back and we'll see how the cake is looking. Quick clip to show you the difference between this row of frosting and this row of frosting. They are both done exactly the same, except for I have covered the black lines with the pink Lango gel pen. So you can decide which you like best. And if I wanted to, I could stop now and leave one like this and one like that. But I do think that it looks better like this, so I am going to continue on and do the bottom layer of frosting. But I thought it kind of fun to come back and show you. Don't often get two separate areas that are exactly the same, that I can demonstrate the black lines versus the colored lines. So there you go. You can decide which would you have done. Leave that in the comments below. Also leave the comments of what your favorite cake is in the comments below. I'd love to know what you would love to have to celebrate your birthday with. Okay, I'll be back with the rest done. Okay, here we are back, and I have finished all of the pink gel pen over top of the icing, and I also did the lines on top of the pink cake. So the only thing that I am left with that I want to kind of look at is this brown area down here. There is a little bit of shading with the two tones of brown from the brushables, but I'm going to actually bring in the color dark brown as well, and just sharpen it up a little bit first. And I just want to come in and blend out the shadow areas so that there's a little bit more definition. Darken up a few spots. I've already started that over here. Just kind of following where I put in the initial ones. And then I think we're done. I will probably not have a lot of videos in the month of April, so thank you for joining me today. I hope you had some fun. I hope you, if you do color a cake, give me a tag on Instagram, and I'd love to see your confectionery brilliance as well. I think this cake is almost good enough to eat. I'll fiddle a little bit more on my own, and you'll see the final page at the end of April in my completed pages. But this is where I'm going to leave you today. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I'm excited about having a birthday month. I think every year that I'm here is pretty spectacular. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a colorful and creative week, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.